Let's go. If I know what I want, then I know what I get. If I go, they can win, cause they know I get lit. I'm a pro, not a myth, and my flow got some wit. Never slow, drink a fit. I get hype, I get lit. Here I go, I get lit. Here I go, I get lit. Here I go, I get lit. I get hype for this shit. Here I go, I get lit. Here I go, I get lit. Here I go, I get lit. I get hype for this shit. Right. I stay loose, I stay hype. I stay loose, I stay hype. I stay loose, I stay.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another edition of This Week, the Angle Podcast, weekly Wednesday night show highlighting everything that we see in the Wednesday Night Wars. Last week, we talked about AEW Dynamite Beach Break. Tonight, we are going to be talking about NXT and everything we just saw. Like I said, welcome to This Week with the Angle Podcast, highlighting everything from NXT. I'm your host, Joey Karni, and like always, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe down below. Stay up to date with all the Angles activity, all my activity, right here on YouTube. A lot of stuff to talk about as we just went off the air minutes ago. NXT this week. We started off in a big way, a semifinals match to determine who is going to the finals of the men's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic this Sunday at NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day, Valentine's Day. There's no better way to spend Valentine's Day than with pro wrestling, so why not start off the night with a big match? MSK getting a huge win over Legado Del Fantasma, earning their shot in the finals. This is a huge push, sort of say. They came in just a few short weeks ago, a brand new tag team to WWE. Now just, as Cameron Grimes would say, going straight to the moon. Same thing as Dogecoin that he referenced also. But they're going to the moon, MSK, and I tweeted it out. They are going places. Even if they don't win the finals of the Dusty Classic, I see big things in the future of MSK. Great match, by the way. Probably one of my favorite matches of the night. MSK getting that win over Legado Del Fantasma. Like I said, opened up the show. Huge match to start the night. Great match. A lot of back and forth there. But it was kind of predictable, though. We did kind of know that MSK would be going to the finals. But regardless, overall, one of my favorite matches of the entire night. Tonight's NXT. Next match, we had Xia Li in another second match, defeating another jobber. I don't even think they said her name. I don't know who it was. I looked it up and it just said jobber, so I don't know who it was. Xia Li making sort of a return. We haven't seen her in a few weeks, but just a great way of NXT highlighting new talent, but building new talent. There's a lot of talk about how WWE just buries talent and doesn't create new stars, and they're bringing older guys, which we're seeing on both Raw and SmackDown right now. But with NXT, that's not the case. We're seeing a lot of new faces developing, growing, a lot of investment in these new stars, such as Xia Li, such as Indi Hartwell, such as Cameron Grimes. A lot of different faces. And even Boa being paired with Xia Li. A lot of big movements happening in NXT right now. We saw, like I said, Xia Li furthering this new storyline with Boa. There is a masked woman sitting in this chair. At one point, I thought she was a mannequin because she just didn't move at all. And then I saw her hands obviously move. We don't know who it is. As you can see on the graphic that I added on the screen, it does say some sort of name. I'm not sure what it is. I can't say it. I'm going to have to wait for someone to say it because I have just no idea what it is. But a lot of people are predicting who that is. A new face coming into NXT, which, again, building new stars. I love what NXT is doing right now with everyone on the card. I mean, I'm trying not to compare things to what we saw on Dynamite, but if you look at Dynamite, all top-level stars across the board. every week on Dynamite. Look at the main event tonight. We saw Kenta and Kenny Omega team against Lance Archer and Jon Moxley. I mean, you're not seeing that on NXT. You're seeing brand new faces, new stars, young talent, hungry talent. Not saying that those AEW talent are not hungry, but we're just seeing newer faces and they're growing, building new talent. So like I said, Xia Li defeating a jobber tonight. And what was significant after this match was Kaden Carter and Casey Canizaro came out to the ring and basically said to Xia that, like, this isn't you. We need to help you. Like, come back. Let us help you. And that ultimately led to what you would think would happen in this situation. They got their asses beat. Xia Li took out everybody, while Boa kind of took the fall, I guess, to Xia Li being distracted by the two superstars, Kaden Carter and Casey Canizaro. Boa kind of being grabbed by the throat by the masked woman in a chair. Another great showing. And by the way, Xia Li's entrance, and I'm gonna reference a lot of tweets that I put out during the show because I live tweet all these shows. So if you are watching here on the Angle Podcast on YouTube and you don't follow me on Twitter, you can tweet me, follow me at the Angle Radio. I live tweet every wrestling show as much as I possibly can, just to give as much perspective as I can. And what we're talking about now is Xia Li defeated a jobber, Kaden Carter and Casey Canizaro getting beat down after that match. Exactly what you'd expect to see. What are the highlights of tonight? There was a lot of comedic segments tonight. One being Johnny Gargano coming out with a broken arm in a wheelchair. Broken arm, he can't walk. It's kind of funny. I tweeted out during this segment that he should just give the title to his wife, Candice LeRae, because at the last TakeOver event, I believe it was either Halloween Havoc or one of those TakeOver events, Candice, I think it was actually TakeOver War Games, Candice broke her arm or forearm or wrist or something like that. And she was walking and she was fine and she was just doing her thing while Johnny Gargano has a broken arm and can't walk in a wheelchair. It's hysterical. What we saw, and this for me was very, very surprising because he pulled up like an x-ray of how Kushida broke his arm, blah, blah, blah. And William Regal basically came out and said that it's not a real one. And he like pointed out all the little details on the x-ray that that just proved that it wasn't real, which is something that we normally don't see because the way WWE does these segments, you would think that they wouldn't point out all the kayfabe type things where it actually did say John Gargano R, and he said that stands for real, and William Regal basically said no, that stands for right arm. So there's a lot of comedic touches to these segments, which I absolutely loved. And this basically led into the semifinals match for the women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, which will be concluding like side the men's this Sunday at NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart defeated The Way, Candice LeRae, and Indi Hartwell. I can't say it right. I have a problem with that. Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart are going to the finals. NXT Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, the first of its kind for the women. Great opportunity. And it was announced after this that the winners of the Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic will be receiving a WWE Women's Tag Team title opportunity. This is something that a lot of fans, including myself a few weeks ago when it was first introduced, this tournament, that they should get this opportunity. And I think they listen to the fans, and they're giving us what we want. They're giving us what the superstars deserve. The winners of the Tag Team Classic, at least for the women's side, will be earning a shot at the WWE Tag Team titles. We don't know when that will happen. Hopefully, fingers crossed, WrestleMania, we see those titles defended against an NXT team. But the match, the finals for the NXT Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic this Sunday at NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day, Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart will be competing against Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. Huge match. I'm excited to see what goes down. And if you want to hear my thoughts or my predictions on NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day, you can tune into my live stream I will be doing on Sunday before the show. I will be doing a pre-show pre-show / prediction show right here on YouTube, same place you are right now watching me. And then there will be a post-show / review, a full review of the show after the pay-per-view. So this Sunday, NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day, I'm doing a pre-show, prediction show, post-show, review show, before and after NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. Back to what we're talking about. Then we went to a match with Kushida and Austin Theory, kind of playing off what happened when Gargano had a broken arm and couldn't walk. Kushida putting on a fantastic match with Austin Theory. Austin Theory really rebuilding himself, and I'm liking to see where he's going. I'm really enjoying this new run alongside Gargano and The Way. A lot of new things that we didn't see before about him. Just the growth of his character and his personality. We saw him first in NXT as, a young stud kind of character where he was, projected to go all the way to the top. And then he went to Monday Night Raw, aligned with Seth Rollins as a disciple. That didn't last long. And then he came back to NXT, and now we're seeing a new rise of Austin Theory. So I'm excited to see what exactly they're going to do with him. But this match between Kushida and Austin Theory ended in a disqualification when Johnny Gargano got involved. And what ended up happening was Austin Theory got pulled under the ring by who knows who, even though we all know who it was. But, for the surprise factor, I guess, Dexter Lumis. And Johnny Gargano thought he was pulling out Austin Theory. Ended up being Dexter Lumis. Another comedic segment, Gargano being shocked, and then Kushida, Austin Theory coming out and turning around, oh my God, shocked. And then we ended up seeing Kushida put Gargano in a submission, Dexter Lumis putting Austin Theory in a submission. Ultimately, Kushida holding up the NXT North American title. The match this Sunday, NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day, the North American Championship. Johnny Gargano will be defending that title against Kushida. Now, there was a segment where Scarlett was seen in William Regal's office, basically asking for a match for Karrion Kross next week against Santos Escobar, the current cruiserweight, or one of the current cruiserweight NXT champions. Just for comments that he has said about him and Scarlett over the last few weeks, so forth, whatever. I thought it was a face turn for Karrion Kross. A lot of people said that there really is no faces and heels in NXT. I'm not too sure about that, but we are definitely seeing a different side of Karrion Kross, more of a babyface role, competing against or in a feud against one of the top heels in NXT, the Cruiserweight Champion Santos Escobar of Legado del Fantasma. So next week, we're getting that match, Karrion Kross, one-on-one with Santos Escobar. It's not for the Cruiserweight Championship. You don't have to worry about that. But after this segment, we saw Santos Escobar basically send his minions to find Karrion Kross. And what ended up happening was Karrion Kross literally murdered Legado del Fantasma, leaving Santos Escobar anxious and nervous for their match next week on NXT. And then we see the return of Cameron Grimes. A Lamborghini, a white Lamborghini, pulls up the same way, might I add, the same way that Bad Bunny's car pulled up to Monday Night Raw. So that was pretty cool to say. I honestly thought for a second, I'm like, oh, holy crap. Bad Bunny is showing up on NXT. Or in other words, it could also be Bow Wow showing up on NXT. You never know with WWE nowadays. This Lamborghini showed up on NXT outside the performance. The CWC. And, it was the returning Cameron Grimes. And he had a lot to say and a lot of energy. And I'm excited to have him back. He is just one of the best talent, I think, in NXT right now. He talked about how he invested in GameStop, how he invested in Dogecoin, which I tweeted about before he even said it, which was kind of funny. Because those who are not familiar with Dogecoin right now, it's one of the cryptocurrencies that are just skyrocketing from people from Reddit. I know that was just a bunch of gibberish to a lot of people, but it's basically a currency on the stock market that people are investing in that's being backed by different groups to make it go even higher. It's called Dogecoin, which was based upon the meme of the dog. So that was kind of created, and a lot of people made a lot of money. So they referenced, I guess, Cameron Grimes making a lot of money from that mainstream reference from NXT. You have to give him credit for doing that. Same thing with GameStop, by the way. Tonight's main event, excellent main event. We saw, again, the semifinals for the men's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic for this Sunday, NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. We saw the Grizzled Young Veterans take on Tommaso Ciampa, Timothy Thatcher, the most unique and I don't even know what the word is. It's two people that are just not supposed to be tag team partners, but just mesh so well together. That is Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. I honestly thought they were getting the win tonight. Let them go against MSK. Every year we have the Dusty Tag Team Classic. We never see an actual tag team win this event. We've seen Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle win. We've seen Samoa Joe and Finn Balor, all people who are not originally teams or authentic teams, who ultimately lead or to some sort of either turn or storyline, like we've seen with Finn Balor and Samoa Joe, or a tag team title run with what's his name, Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne, the Broserweights. So a lot of different options there that I thought we would see Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher, win this whole thing. And then, either go on to win the tag team titles, NXT, or even something different. That's not exactly what we saw. The Grizzled Young Veterans got a win, getting the pin on Tommaso Ciampa. So the main event, or the finals, should I say, the finals for the men's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic at NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. And I think I've said NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day maybe 40 times in this stream, which is fun, just promoting it, and my show this Sunday, NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day, pre-show, post-show, be there. So yeah, that match is for the finals of the tag team, Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, MSK versus Grizzled Young Veterans. This match will probably steal the entire show, although there are a lot of other matches on the card that I'm excited to watch. But this one, just being a new tag team, we still haven't seen the full effect of MSK. They're still brand new. They're still the shiny new toy of NXT. We have not seen fully what they can do, and I'm sure we're going to see exactly who they are and what they can do at their best. NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day, finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. A great night overall for NXT. Like I said, NXT is in the business of building stars. They are ultimately a developmental brand, although WWE sometimes labels them as the third brand. They are developmental. They are the next generation. That's where NXT came from. I did want to touch on a topic that everyone is always talking about, and I really never say anything about it. And I was actually on, I was a guest on someone's podcast this past weekend, Big Bang Wrestling. Shout out to them. They invited me onto their show. We talked, and we got into a conversation regarding ratings. And I said something that I didn't know that I was going to say, and then I thought about it after, and I was like, wow, I need to elaborate on that on my show or elsewhere, because it was a big thing. So every week we have the Wednesday Night Wars, NXT versus AEW Dynamite. Wednesday Night Wars. USA Network versus TNT. Whatever you want to call it. What I said basically was that NXT is a developmental brand. WWE doesn't make their money from NXT and NXT ratings. AEW Dynamite is their only show. It's their flagship show. So you're having a flagship show go head-to-head with a developmental brand. There is a reason why NXT loses majority of the weeks to AEW Dynamite. There's just bigger star power on AEW Dynamite. For all time's sake, we have Jon Moxley, Kenny Omega, Sting. I mean, the list goes on and on. Now we're including other companies, Kenta from New Japan, the Good Brothers from Impact Wrestling. That is a super show every week on Dynamite. There's no doubts about that. But to compare them to NXT, which is a developmental brand, this is where stars go to develop, to grow, to someday make it to Raw or SmackDown. If you want to compare all these shows every week, compare AEW Dynamite to Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown, because that's ultimately their competition. Besides the point that they are on the same night, AEW Dynamite and NXT. Like I said, NXT is WWE is not making their money from NXT. WWE is making their money. They're making profit from, or they are making money from. Let me retract that. They are making money from NXT, but their goal is not to solely depend on NXT. They have Raw and SmackDown for that. Those are the bigger shows. Those are what AEW looks as to Dynamite. So people who are comparing, these no-name people on NXT every week, no, they are building stars so they can go to Raw or SmackDown, so we can see them have moments at the Royal Rumble or Survivor Series and big-time moments at WrestleMania, like Seth Rollins and others that have come before and after him. So there's always this talk about ratings and all this stuff between the two shows, and I try to do my best to kind of stay out of it, because I know exactly what I just said here. NXT being a developmental brand, and to even you also have to think about the ratings too. Like NXT is basically, every week is like the same numbers. AEW is kind of basically the same numbers every week with the ratings, and they're pretty close, consistently close. They're only maybe 100 to 200,000 off. And people have said already, Eric Bischoff just said it a few days ago on his podcast, they're plateauing. AEW's plateauing. To barely, and if you're looking at the numbers, 200,000 may be a big difference, but when you're talking viewership and ratings, it's not that big. It's not a big leap. It's not like, they're not like here and here. They're like very near to each other. And like I said, AEW being the flagship show, or Dynamite being the flagship show of AEW, NXT being a third brand developmental show for WWE, I'll let you decide the rest. So I just had to give that perspective and give that input, because we're talking about NXT. Overall, great show tonight. NXT putting on a phenomenal show. By the way, my favorite part of the night was the ending when they announced the commentary team, Wade Barrett, Vic Joseph, and Beth Phoenix. They get up from their commentary booth. They stand by the ring. The lights dim. They have all these things going on. And they're promoting all the matches for NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. And all those feuds are so on the stage we have Gargano face-to-face with Kushida. Then we have, throughout the night, all vignettes of Toni Storm, Mercedes Martinez, and Io Shirai. By the way, none of those superstars being on the show tonight, getting completely over, developing, growing, just by those vignettes. WWE or NXT has the best vignettes in all of pro wrestling. I don't care what anybody says. I'm more invested in Mercedes Martinez from the vignette we saw tonight, 30-second vignette. Same thing goes for Toni Storm, Io Shirai. I was already there, but just more storytelling and building and growing, and all this is progress. Then we see in the ring the lights dim, and Finn Balor with the NXT title comes out from one side, and then Pete Dunne comes from one side, and everyone's face to face. All the feuds for this Sunday, all different parts of the arena face to face. I've never seen it before, and it hyped me up, and that was a great way to set up NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day this Sunday live in the WWE Network. If you are just tuning in now, I'm your host, Joey Karni. This is the Angle Podcast. This week, NXT edition. Every week I'm going to flip-flop between which show I like better. Either NXT or AEW Dynamite. If you go look on the stream, on the YouTube channel, you can see last week, completely different look. This week had a whole AEW theme going on because I talked about AEW Beach Break. This week, I'm talking about NXT. And who knows what next week is going to be, depending on whatever show I like better. You can see on the side here all the graphics, all the matches that went down tonight, all the stuff that happened. Overall, great show. I'm excited for NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. If you haven't already, like, subscribe down below. I will be doing a live, like I said, plenty of times on this whole stream, a live pre-show / prediction show before NXT TakeOver Vengeance day, and a live post-show / review, full review after the pay-per-view ends. All happening right here on YouTube, youtube.com/TheAnglePodcast. If you want to follow me on all social media platforms, it's at The Angle Radio. Just made a new TikTok account that is at The Angle Podcast, like you can see on the bottom of your screen here. A lot of new content coming your way. Tomorrow morning, a new interview will be live on this channel. Alicia Atu, the interview queen, Alicia Atu. I sat down with her to talk about how she got to where she is. Some advice for new podcasters, interviewers, bloggers, writers, whatever you are. If you're in the creative field, she gave some great advice. And she also talks about her recent drama with Selena De La Renta, signing with MLW, her music interviews, Metallica, all this great stuff. That interview will be live tomorrow, 9 a.m. on the Angle Podcast, right here on YouTube. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe down below. Every like, every view, every comment, every subscription just helps me build this channel to where I want it to be and where I know it can be. So all of that stuff is most definitely appreciated. For those of you watching, I appreciate you taking this time on this lovely Wednesday night to come chat and listen to me ramble about NXT, which, by the way, I love to do. NXT being one of my favorite brands of all of pro wrestling. So like I said, pre-show, post-show, this Sunday, before and after NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. This Friday, I'll be doing another live show right here. Get Smacked. It's after SmackDown right here, the Angle Podcast on YouTube. We're going to be smacking you with some expert analysis and knowledge about everything that happened on Friday Night SmackDown. A lot of great stuff happening. Like I said, like, subscribe down below. I want to thank everybody for listening, everyone for watching. If you would rather hear this show instead of look at this face and this whatever is here, you can go listen on all streaming platforms, all podcast platforms, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, all those great platforms. This show, along with many others, and my interviews will be there as well. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. For now, I'm your host, Joey Karni. I will see you at NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day, the before and after, pre-show, post-show, full review show, this Sunday, right here.